Users will often use your consent as moral cover for what they're doing. Consent doesn't always mean that the situation itself was fair, respectful, or appreciated. And while in a perfect world, someone who doesn't want to do something will just say no. But someone can agree because they feel guilty. Someone can agree because they love the person or they're trying to keep the peace. Someone can agree because they have been taught to overfunction. Or if they know that saying no is going to have multiple bad consequences and they don't want to deal with that. When a taker says, well, you said yes, that reduces the relationship down to a technicality. Users will sometimes live their lives based on loopholes. Well, if I stay away for a while, they'll go back to acting like nothing happened. They're not asking, well, was I considerate? They're asking themselves, well, can I technically defend this? Answer is yes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get those resources. They cannot honestly say, well, I was grateful. I showed appreciation. They can instead think, well, they said yes to it. It also reframes generosity as stupidity. I actually know some of the most toxic people I've ever met in my life. They actually see people who are generous as stupid. Sorry, my camera. Or like they're suckers because they fell for it. No, you should strive to be a good person and not take too much from another. You help because you're loyal, because you're caring, because you're generous. Or you're just trying to do the right thing. And they act like you were dumb for caring. I'm seeing more and more men who are solid men and they're scared to give because it ends up backfiring every single time. They get used and taken advantage of, and it's not okay. Well, why did you help if you didn't want to, says the user. As if sacrifice only counts if you enjoyed every second of it, especially with physical labor. Come on. Like if you did yard work for another person or you helped them move, I can say the majority of us probably don't enjoy those tasks. We do those tasks because we care about the person who needs the help. And what I've noticed is a lot of people that help others out, they do it because they feel like the relationship matters. They genuinely care about the other person. It's not because they secretly wanted to be used or taken advantage of. And sometimes with users, the mask slips when you stop helping. And this can be brutally hard to deal with. When you help them, they're the nicest people ever, treat you like absolute gold. But when you stop doing it, you're sitting there confused because all of a sudden they got cold. They want nothing to do with you. And you're like, wait, what? What happened? And then they start to rewrite history, making you the problem. They minimize what you did. They act like nothing that you did mattered. And you're sitting there like, well, I sacrificed everything for this person. They don't see it that way because if they saw it that way, they would have to appreciate you and treat you with dignity, and they don't want to. They may say, well, I never asked for all of that, even though they happily accepted it. How hard would it have been for them to be like, thanks, but no thanks. Please don't do those things for me. I don't want that. In fact, I actually don't like you. Please don't do things for me. Anything. Like, they could have said no. Now, obviously, if someone says no to you and you keep doing stuff for them, that's more on you. But you should have said no means I was never going to stop myself. These people will take everything from you and not feel a shred of guilt. Because a user has no internal brakes. They only stop when there's an external consequence that affects them directly. Haven't you noticed that? It also helps them avoid repair because oftentimes these people will disappear after taking a lot from you. And then they don't have to come back and apologize and make things right or reciprocate.